highlights channel of the Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. What is the G20 Summit?
So, what is the G20 or what is the summit?
Both.
Okay. Well, the G20 is a group of 20 nations, actually 19 nations and one organization, that's the European Union. And the genesis or the origin of the G20 is in what was earlier the G7 and the G8. You had the G7, which exists today, the developed countries, and they took a number of decisions that were financial and economic in nature, and a lot of the global decision making also was at one stage carried out by the G7. But when you had the financial crisis of 2008, they understood that you really need the emerging economies. You need Russia, you need China, you need India, you need Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Brazil. So these countries are critical to global decision making when it comes to dealing with financial and socio-economic matters. And so you had the G20, which was formed. And the G20 is largely dealt with issues that, as I said, financial and economic in nature. Over a period of time, because leaders meet, and I suspect because the normal agencies, intergovernmental agencies that should be doing this, today lacks the representation, lacks the democratic mandate to be able to fulfill their obligations. The United Nations, for example, is today largely deadlocked on geopolitical issues. The institutions like the IMF and the World Bank today may not have the capacity or the mandate to live up to the expectations of the developing world. Countries that are indebted, countries that need greater financing, greater support, they're not up to the task. So you perforce go to groupings, smaller groupings, not like the UN, but smaller groupings like the G20, to provide a level of global governance, which is not just financial and economic in nature, but also to, in some senses, even humanitarian or anything that meets the requirements of the job. That means the G20's approach should be based on helping other countries. And our foreign policy, if you look at our foreign policy based on the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is really working for the larger common good, the global common good.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is altruistic thought, like in terms of every being should benefit, every person should benefit, right?
So, yes. G20 under our presidency has, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is, the English version is looked at as one earth, one family, one future.
Right.
So it is, in a certain sense, an interpretation of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which really means working for the global, larger common good. The world is one family. And if you have to progress and you have to, humanity has to move forward, you have to move forward together. So you look at the future in a positive, cooperative way.
New clips released at the same time that a podcast releases. This is TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe.